1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In today's video, we are going to show you how to realistically train for a fight. Hello warriors, welcome to yet another video when it comes to fighting. We already made a video on how the fight is going to look like, probably, in Introduction to Fights Volume 2. And now we are going to go into that video, but look at it differently, because we are going to talk about things, how to actually train for it, so it actually makes sense. Basically, in the training like this, you have two options. Either you are going to train technically, but slowly, or you are going to train realistically, but fast. Option number 2, which is realistic but fast, is a good one, but the problem here is when people are not coordinated, they are just fighting because they completely forget about the SORUDO aspects, the creating the distance, disengaging, because all they have in mind is a full fight and I have to beat him, and basically they go just into their instincts and forget everything else. So here you should start with the technical training and slow training, but always keep in mind that it shouldn't be something like technique done. It should be in some sequence of phases. So you need to know how the phase starts and what is going to follow up after the initial phase. So here, what about the phases? We already talked about them in the previous video, so check that first so you know what we are talking about, but just a very rough and quick recap. And keep in mind, this is not 100% of the fights, but let's say it's about 80% is like roughly the most of the fights are going to look like this. Basically what we are talking about is phase number 1, and we are avoiding the first just punch me. That's for another video that we already did. So let's keep that in mind, that he is not going to punch me first and just knock me out. So he pushes something like to the body. Then phase number 2 is we start doing some like boxing. We try to jab each other. From there, they basically find out that it's not really working. So one or another starts just hitting very hard and pressing. Either him or me will start clinching and grabbing, and from here we usually will go to the ground because of strips or some takedowns. We go to the ground, it's in some victory position, beating each other, and we get up and fall down, and it kind of repeats itself. And that's exactly how we need to train it. If we know the phases, we know how to train it. But always keep in mind, here what is going to be important one. You should be the smarter one out of the two people. You should be trying to avoid the fight because of the low consequences, because of the things that you know can happen. And basically here, the smartest option would be to completely leave the situation. But there's a problem with this as well, because if you are going to be thinking, I'm always just going to escape the situation and leave, it's a bad mindset, because it's not that much of decision of me, but the attacker. If he really wants to punch me, he will. So even if I want to escape, I want to be the smarter one, I will try to back away, and he already starts. Now there's not really any position after he throws the strikes for me to disengage, because I already accept the fight, even though if I didn't want to at first. Here is going to be important the role that you are going to be in. You don't want to be in a role, even though you accept the fight, to be the one that is just going to start pummeling him and him pummeling me. It doesn't make sense. You still should be in a position of the smarter one, the one who doesn't want to deal with the low consequences, or you just don't want to take him down and then let some of his friends just kick you on, to the head. Meanwhile, you are smaller, weaker, maybe he's more skilled, whatever. So even here, your role is to disengage, create your distance, and get your weapon if you have some. So here, let's jump into the phase 1, which is going to be the starting of the conflict, so some push. Basically, your position here is, me as the attacker, I want to push, and you don't want to get pushed. So there are a couple of options. I'm trying to push, and you create the distance and try to hit me. There are, of course, a couple of variations. So this is the second one, maybe something like this, and continuing, for example. But of course, keep in mind that your position here is the defender, so you want to engage the push, but of course go for your weapon, because you have created the distance and it's going to be much bigger chance for you. So right away when you create the distance, you can go for it now. Second phase, what's going to happen is after I push, you let's say didn't react, and now I want to get into some kind of guard. Now it gives you the biggest position to go for your weapon, the pepper spray, the kubotan, the telescopic gun, whatever, what you carry. Now is the biggest time and the longest time for you to reach it, because I'm trying to get into some type of guard. Let's now add the second phase. So when we are training it, it's going to be 1, push, you didn't react, 2, you go for a gun, because I'm getting into my guard. This gives you the longest time to go for a weapon. Even if we change the angle, I'm here, 1, 2, and you go for it. That's how we go phase by phase, always counting, saying 1, 2, and you go for it. This is what you should be repeating in the training to create the muscle memory. Now you add in the third phase, and we are going to basically start from this one. So we are standing, and I right away go for 3, boom, 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 and you need to create your distance, hit, and go for it. Even now I went a little bit too quick. We want to slow it down so we can go on contact. So once again, to see it correctly, I don't want to go full speed, but I will go 1 and create. In the first phase, I'm letting him go to the weapon. I'm not repeating my pressure, but now I will. I don't want to just let him go away with the weapon completely. So we go 1, boom, boom, boom. Okay, but I still am going. And maybe not even now, but now is the time to go for it. At first there was not much time. You need to create even bigger distance. So on the third one, now you have the space. So it's not just always go for it, because if you don't have the space, you shouldn't go for the weapon. Because we are going to add the fourth phase, now you have two options. You either can start from all the way from the beginning. So as we show, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we are in the fourth one and you need to go and reach for a weapon. Or we are going to start from the third phase. Because you can start, why not? That's how we are going to train as well. So I go and 3 and 4. I clean somewhere, you fight. Either go for the eyes, hit. But as you can see, there are two options. Either we start from the first phase or we don't, and he already from the beginning just started striking. In all of the phases, you are trying to find out what you can do in there, what are you able to do. So when it comes to things that you can do, one could be I try to push and you push me away, go for the weapon. Another option could be I try to push and you hit, and then go for a weapon. Or third one, I push and you basically go for the takedown from the head. The same goes for the second phase. So we are talking about the boxing, which is the second phase. There are of course other options. Maybe it's all just solved by you moving backwards, because I'm just standing here and you have the distance. But there can be situations when it's the elevator, you don't have anywhere to back down, and you see that my boxing is not very good. So we actually want to engage, because you are going to be much better at it than me. As well, other options, of course, there are not just 2, 3. The same goes for the phase number 3, which would be the I charge and I try to strike you and press you. It's up to your body to decide in that moment, because of the training, to either go for the weapon or not go for the weapon. It's not as easily seen in the slow one, but for example in the quicker ones it's going to be much more seen. But still, you need to know when is the correct time. So is he too close to me, and if I go for the weapon I'm just going to get struck too many times? Or okay, now is the big distance and now I can safely go for it. And now when we are talking another phase, which is the fourth phase, when it comes to the grabbing, basically the rule here, I try and go from the strikes, you are covering or hitting back, and we somewhere get the clinch now. The rule here is going to be the one who's going to be on top will have the better position. So we are talking I would take Pierre down and I'll just lay and strike. I'm going to be in much better position than he would be. The same goes here. If he doesn't let me and I just get there and clinch somewhere and he can pin me a bit down, now he can hit me from a very good position. You could be thinking I'm going to hit him to the balls, but the exchange, I'm hitting the balls, but I'm getting hit to the back of the head. There's much difference in the damage that it's going to do. Here when we are talking about the more of the grappling phase, one is going to be more in the striking, so he wants to strike more, and the second one is going to be the more trying to get into the grappling. It's one or the other. As I try to get there after the strikes and I clinch either you or me, we get into this position. Now from SORUDO perspective, you have a couple of options, not many options, but let's name few. The first one could be that you basically just try to go for my eyes, because you press. I may be bigger, stronger, but my eyes are not stronger. Eyes have everyone the same. Another one could be we are holding here and now we want to take me here and go for the eyes from there, because I'm from the down position. Or hit me from the down, because I am coming down and your strikes are coming up. It's not going to be pleasant. Another thing that can be here is hitting back of the head. If you think that on camera it doesn't look much, if you try it, it's very unpleasant. Even in combat sports you are forbidden to hit here, but that's why it's so effective, because here it's going to, just try it, you'll see, it's not a good feeling. Another one could be we go here and now it's trying to elbow, create the hammers, hit, combination. And when it's in the combination, you are doing multiple things, and it's not to completely destroy me in the position, but it's for you to hit, and then separate. If you are asking, why do I want to separate when I'm hitting him? I'm in the better position. But you always need to count with the things that we say in every single video. You never know if it's one-on-one, or all of a sudden when you are clinching, hitting, a friend comes and just hits you from the side, from the behind. You never know when we are going to fall during the battle, and now my friends are just stomping on your head. Or I am losing, so okay, I will take the equalizer, take out the knife and start stabbing because I am losing. You never know, so that's why you don't want to spend so much time there. The dirty tactics in this one make it possible for you to make it quick and to disengage. You reached the end of the part 1. If you want to see part 2, which we are going to talk about some close distance fighting, we are going to talk about clinch and some grappling or falling to the ground. So if you are interested in subject like this, definitely wait for part 2. And if you want to see part 2,